I'm Tom from Do-It-Yourself Home Automation, and this is a look at my fully set up side yard solar system. So this is something I started to build, and I did another video about it showing how if you're a renter and you want to have some solar panels, you can use these panels from Renogy that you can use off-grid. You don't have to connect them into your utilities, so you don't have to do net metering or anything like that. You can just get these and connect them up to a charge controller like this Adventurer charge controller that I have here. And you can have your own little off-grid solar system that you could use for, anything for emergency backup, to run like a medical device if you had a nebulizer or something, for lighting during a power outage, just to run like, backyard lights or a fountain, just any kind of power you wanted to use, or even just to experiment with solar systems and how that works. But in other videos I showed how you could put the panels up on a roof, or you could put them on a balcony if you had a little outdoor balcony. But I wanted to look at solutions that were even a little bit better for renters, or if you just don't have that kind of space available, or your HOA or landlord won't let you put solar panels on the roof, then are there other ways you can generate a little bit of extra power using some of these panels from Renogy. So what I did was rig up a 100-watt panel here, and then three 50-watt panels. And these are all connected together with a four-pronged MC4 connector. I've showed that in other videos. So these are wired up in parallel, which means they're all running at the same voltage, and it's combining the amperage of the panels together. And then that's all feeding into this Adventurer charge controller. And with this controller, it's not actually even mounted to the structure. It's just resting on top of the panel, and there's enough force here that holds it in place. So nothing about this is permanent, nothing about it has even been screwed into the wall. These are just able, in my case, to rest against the wall. You might want to build some kind of mount or something like that. So the connectors go into this charge controller, and I can go through the settings on here. So you can see the amount of power I generated previously. My battery's pretty much depleted because I haven't charged it in a while. And then at the moment, I'm not generating anything from the panels because, as you can probably see, it's dark, it's dusk. And that's actually the best time to work on a solar system because the panels aren't generating any power, so it's the safest time to work with them in case there was any kind of a short or anything like that. You're not generating power, so you're not dealing with as much risk of any kind of an electrical problem. So those panels plug in here. Then, and actually one thing I'll note about the way the panels are connected, I have much longer cables, so I have a whole reel of cable behind the panel here. And the concept here is that, when it's in the side yard, it's probably not going to get a lot of direct sunlight during the day, so there's just a little kind of nook back here beside my house. So it'll get a little bit of sun, it'll probably get some partial sun. I'm not expecting it to generate a ton of power. But one thing I wanted to be able to do with this is if there was ever a power outage, I wanted to have it be really easy that it was already hooked up, and I could take these panels and have a long connector for them and just easily put them out on my driveway or somewhere temporary where they're in full sun out on the deck, and generate the full power the system is able to produce, which is about 250 watts. So even if on a day-to-day basis maybe I'm only getting 50 watts out of it in this side yard, if there was ever a problem and I needed power, I could actually move those panels to a fully sunny location. So I wanted the whole system to be able to connect up to one set of leads, so I could move the four panels over, have a long set of leads going back to the charge controller. And so I ended up getting a 30-foot cable from Renogy, and that connects into my four-prong MC4 connectors, brings it down to two leads, and then those again are 30 feet going into the charge controller. So if there was a power outage, I'd just take these 30 feet away into the sun, and everything would still be hooked up properly. I wouldn't have to get a new cable or swap anything out, or move the whole system. So again, extra long cable spooled up in there, and then I'll connect that up with some tie wraps to make sure that it's nicely secured. Now from the charge controller, I'm going into a battery, which is behind this panel over here. And this is just a standard lead acid battery. And for a full system, where you're not just using it for experimental purposes, you'd want to get a special solar battery. But in this case, I'm just, again, using just a conventional kind of lead acid battery. And I've talked in other videos about there's a lot of different battery chemistries and other things you can use. But for me, for just basic power needs, this is pretty simple. 12-volt battery, and so everything's going in there. Now I'm going to take a look tomorrow or sometime when it's sunny, and we'll see how much power this actually generates over the course of a day. And we'll see also how easy it is to move these into the sun if it needed to be done during a power outage or something. But this is, again, another concept for how you can use solar if you really only have a very small backyard area, or if you have challenges where you're not allowed to install panels on a balcony or on a roof, even if it's a temporary off-grid type of mount. If you found this helpful in any way, please subscribe to my channel. It really helps.